restrictions, it's like
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Greetings.
Hello.
Welcome to Behind the Gavel. I'm Linda Bear,
And I'm Jackie McKee, Hartford 2000.
and we're here to talk to you about what items are on the council agenda this evening, and to help you be prepared to hear the discussion when we get into the council meeting. Following our show, there'll be a 1-hour public comment period where the public can talk about anything they want to talk about. And then the council meeting itself will start at 7. So, any particular item jump out at you?
Well, in coming here, I just was thinking that the summer schedule, this is the last once a month.
Oh,
In
yes.
September, we go back to the council meeting on the 2nd and 4th
Right.
Mondays, just for your information.
Yeah, so the next meeting will be September 10th. There is no second meeting in August, as Jackie has
Yes.
said. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you know, I just, what jumps out at me is the whole issue around the drones.
Yes.
It's like, we know that we should have an ordinance regarding drones, but then it gets a little all over the lot.
Right. Yeah, there are 2 ordinances and a resolution on the
Yes.
agenda, all dealing with drones.
I guess it's a new, we call it technology, and
Right,
we're still
right.
trying to come up with guidelines, not only for public use, but for the police too.
Police as
Yeah.
well, yeah. So one of the ordinances prohibits the operation of, the technical term, I guess, is unmanned aerial vehicles, but that is the same thing as a drone.
Drone, yeah.
So the first ordinance will prohibit the operation to release tear gas or to remotely control a weapon or explosive. And if one of us, a citizen, were to do that, we would be fined $1,000. But then it would strictly regulate police use of the drones, and would require the police to tell the council when they were thinking of buying drones, and to have a process in place so that people would know if they were the subject of the drone
Surveillance.
surveillance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. As you know, this is a public place, so we
Right.
always have people dropping in.
Coming in as we're talking.
What's interesting is that all I get charged is $1,000 for having a drone that
Had a weapon on it.
with a weapon on it shoots out my neighbor's windows.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
a good
going
point.
to do that.
No, definitely
It
not.
seems to me I should need some jail time.
So maybe you should talk at the public comment period about that.
You know, I don't know.
Right.
It's just interesting.
The resolution also requires that the police create incident report forms when they use a drone, and there's proposed moratorium on the use of drones until there's a policy in place, and the council is going to take the lead on that policy, I guess. So, and a report should be submitted to the council every January on all the incidents that were involving drones.
So I suppose we should get it right. So
I think we should
take
of
our
course.
time and get it right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's no urgency to acquiring them. I believe that there is grant funding available as part of a larger grant, so the police can have the resources to buy some, but they're not doing that right now. So another item on the agenda, relatively new, is the Commission on Criminal Justice Reform.
Yes.
We're on the TV right this second. That's okay. So there's a resolution that the commission would be 11 members, and they would serve 3-year terms, and the majority would have to be Hartford voters. It wouldn't be everybody, but a few.
What kind of things would the commission be looking at?
The language says the commission shall advise the mayor and council on policies and support for criminal justice reform, including programs that relate to public health, substance abuse, addiction treatment, mental health care, harm reduction, emergency services, corrections, and the judicial system and public safety in general. So it's pretty broad mandate.
Pretty broad, yeah.
Yeah. And they would provide recommendations to the council on how we might kind of look at criminal justice reform, in particular in Hartford. I mean, I guess there are a lot of initiatives going on across the state. Yep. And I know there are some people here, because I saw them in the hallway, who are here to support this resolution. I understand that the council will probably pass it, although you never know, but that's the word in the hall.
Well, it's a lot of the functions I note that 211 takes care of.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
And the Welcome Center for Reentry, the reentry
Right.
people, that's opening in a month.
right. In fact, I work at 311, so to our fans, I'm down there on the ground level.
Right, in more
Center.
ways than one.
Yes, right. So I had a tour through the new center. I met the gentleman who will be running it, the director, and we've already had a lot of people making inquiries. So I think it's a positive start.
Yep.
It's a small step, but seeing that Hartford is the number one place where people who are leaving prison get dropped off. Literally, they drop you off. And I saw a map once, and there's Hartford with a giant red dot and the rest of the state. And we get the most drop-offs. So I think this is a very positive plan for the city and for the citizens of Hartford, and those who are getting dropped off also.
And I understand that the center itself is a result of a collaboration between a lot of entities, both state and city, and nonprofit that deal with folks coming out of prison. And for instance, there'll be a lot of data maintained. So
Right.
how many people were dropped off in Hartford during this week, and did they have sufficient pre-release planning? So I know there's been perceptions that we're on the TV right now. That more people get dropped off here than
Yes.
probably is valid. But at least we'll know more about who those people are and what services they need.
Right. Yes. Right.
And are they able to get them, access those?
Particularly those who don't live in this or don't come from this area.
Right. Yeah.
Or it'll be good for people who live in the area too, because it can get them back on the road to life outside of
Right. And provide some support.
support.
Like,
Yes.
they reconnect with their friends from before, which is not always positive. So having support for making different kinds of decisions is a big
And possibly finding jobs.
Yeah.
and housing. So
Absolutely.
I think this is
housing. Yep.
all very
Dealing
positive.
with your children
Yes,
again.
right. We have reentry issues.
Right.
So we'll keep you informed on how it goes. Yeah.
The Southwest Behind the Rocks Neighborhood Revitalization Zone has submitted their NRZ strategic plan to the council for the first time. Yep. They're probably the last NRZ to form, and then they completed their plan in a reasonable length of time. And it's been to the state for review. Was adopted by the neighborhood in December, and then it was submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they approved it, and they recommended that the council approve it as well. So it's an ordinance, so it will go to public hearing. So that could happen probably on next month.
Next month?
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, next Monday.
Next
Okay.
Monday, yeah. And I made a note of the categories they covered in their plan. They have a vision, they have goals and objectives in categories, and those categories are residents. For instance, it's important that they have a diverse population and that residents get along with each other and interact with each other. They also address parks and green space, recreational facilities and programs, transportation, education, quality of life, housing, business, and community resource. And then they make a note in the plan that it's their intention that the goals and objectives be implemented through the cooperative efforts of residents and the other stakeholders. So property owners, nonprofits, businesses, faith communities, and other institutions, schools, cultural groups, all would be involved in implementing the plan. So it's not just somebody from the outside making things happen. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And we have 14 NRCs.
Right.
And so this is the last one to submit its first one.
plan.
Most NRCs are on their third and fourth
Right.
plan.
Iteration of
Iteration
their
of their
plan.
strategic plan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The council will consider a resolution that accepts $25,000 in a grant from an entity called Cities of Service, which was established by Michael Bloomberg, previous mayor of New York City. And it's called the Love Your Block program.
I love it.
Yeah. It said Love Your Block grant. The grant is not part of the Love Your Block. But a big component of it is mini grants so that, they're focusing on Frog Hollow
Yes.
neighborhood.
They're the lucky
Lucky winners.
recipient of these funds.
So groups of residents in the neighborhood can get grants between $500 and $1,000 for projects that primarily address light. But the definition is quite general of light. So if they wanted to do some kind of cleanup effort in their park, that obviously addresses light. And so it's not just buildings. It's anything that the residents feel would make their neighborhood look better. And the city gets 2 Vista volunteers as part of this as well for 2 years.
To help them implement their.
Yeah, to work with the neighbors, work with the residents, and develop a resource guide, evaluation tool, and just in general raise awareness of the program and make sure that people know that they can develop a project and then get funding for it. So that's a very interesting program. And I think it was competitive, so we were one of not too many cities to get the grant. And I think there's an option to get another one later if we're successful with the program.
It's voting time. So
Yes.
we should remind all Hartford citizenry to vote tomorrow.
Yep. If you're a Republican or a Democrat,
Doesn't matter. The
you
thing
have
is
a
to vote.
primary.
That's right. It's a primary day for Republicans and Democrats. It's important that you get out and vote.
Right. Polls open at 6 a.m., close at 8 p.m.
It's too late to do an absentee ballot,
Yes.
so you've got to go to the polls.
Yeah. Right.
Connecticut still does not have any alternative ways of
Right.
voting
Right.
versus some states have.
Yeah, like early voting.
Yeah, we're a little slow in that.
A little bit.
And what's interesting is every time an election comes up, the council transfers $100,000 to $150,000
Right.
to the election, the registrar of voters, to hire the staff that they need to do the voting, and it's quite an operation.
Right. It is.
It's quite an
You've been
operation.
part of it yourselves.
Yes, and being down at the 311 center, I see what they go through. Just preparing the equipment.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
Well, everything's under lock and key, and they bring it up, and they go through every cabinet.
Check
Oh,
it out.
they go through every cabinet and make sure all the supplies are in there. Then they hire moving vans,
Oh my goodness.
and they roll them out, put them in the moving vans along with the voting machines,
Okay.
and they deliver them to each of the 24 voting districts.
Wow. Yeah, so in addition to what we've been seeing on TV, which is governor, lieutenant governor, state treasurer, and attorney general, there are also two districts in Hartford where there's primaries, Democratic primaries for state
State
representatives.
reps, right?
So in District 3 and District 5, if you live in those districts, and if you don't know where you, not that you don't know where you live, you don't know which district you live in, you could go to the registrar's website
Right.
and click on the map, and it'll show you which district. So,
And if you still don't know, it's okay to call.
yeah, absolutely.
I'll be manning the phones full time.
Full time.
Starting probably about 5 o'clock.
So could they call 311 too?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
We
Call
want that
311
information too, yes.
so that if you can remember that, that will help you out. Let's see. What else? Oh, swimming pools.
Oh, yeah, that's very popular this time,
Right.
particularly when we've had the day heat.
Right, and I think there are two resolutions. I'm not sure why there are two, but they both call for a review of the city-owned swimming pools with an eye to improving safety. And I'm pretty sure that this is an outgrowth of the young man who
The
drowned,
unfortunate drowning, yes.
who went in the pool in the middle of the night or late in the night. So the council is going to analyze what we do currently for safety and make recommendations as to improving that situation. But yes, this is a very popular thing at this time of year,
Oh, yeah.
right?
We get calls all the time at 311, and on really hot days, I wouldn't be surprised if we said the pools were open till midnight.
There would be
come.
people there.
Right.
And maybe at some point we should look at that.
Yes, yeah, right.
So I believe we're finished.
We're down to the wire.
I think he just gave us the sign
Oh,
that we're off.
are we
So-
off? We didn't get to do our ice cream thing.
Let me tell him.
He's new.
Yeah.
You do look much better than this. It's interesting sitting next to you. It's like your aura feels better.
Really?
I didn't even know they did it. It seems like the old one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I feel much better. I feel like 100% better.
100 years from now, they'll look back and see what we did with Capitalist Kingdom.
Yeah.
And they'll think we were barbarians.
Right.
Yes.
It's like
right.
stuff we did some years ago.
Yes, yeah. How long is your brother here?
Probably 10 days to 2 weeks. Yeah, he came on Thursday, and he's cooking for me, making sure I eat a lot, because I didn't lose much weight. Yeah. Went out and bought some clothes, like some shorts.
Yeah, so that you feel this thing.
Yeah, that they're not falling down. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad to know that. Yeah.
Feel better.
Right. And knowing that I look a little better, that helps too. Yeah, because I look like
You just look so tired. And you were tired.
I was tired and I look tired. You're not staying.
You know what? Melissa was on Hardwell tonight. She is a character. I think
Is she?
she's a clone of Trump, which is why they make her so nervous.
Name?
She's not funny, but inside.
She doesn't look even a picture doesn't
No,
look.
I didn't listen to the practice. Not there.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started with our monthly public comment. We have a long list this evening, so we need to stay on schedule. Good evening to all of you in the audience and listening in at home. Welcome to our monthly public comment. We have quite a few individuals. Please remember that everyone will be given 3 minutes at the podium to express any concerns that they have or feedback that they have. And when you come before the podium, please state your name and your address for the record. Thank you. Without further ado, we'll get started. Nancy Boone.
Hello, Council President and Council members. I'm Nancy Boone. I'm work for the Department of Families and Children, Youth and Recreation upstairs. And I'm here because Councilman Deutsch called our department today and asked about the summer meals. So I just want to give a quick update on what's going on with summer meal sites around the city. So after Mr. Deutsch and I spoke, I called Shannon Yearwood, who's the Executive Director for End Hunger Connecticut, to get a better update. Essentially what happens is program participation slows down after programs end. So in the case of Hartford, we had many of our public schools, maybe perhaps all of our public schools, providing summer meals until what corresponded with the end of summer school, which was August 3rd. That's true for other programs too. In our department in the recreation centers, our summer camp ended August 10th, and that's when we stopped serving summer meals at all of our sites. The ones that are open now through August 24th we have Arroyo Recreation Center, which is 30 Pope Park Drive. We'll continue to serve until August 24th. Compass Youth Collaborative, which is on South Prospect Street, is serving through the 24th. And families can call 211 for their nearest site. So happy to answer any questions people have about summer meals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Jasenia Martinez. I hope I said that correctly. I'm trying to read the writing. Jasenia, you're next.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gisela Martinez. I am resident of Hartford, a native of Puerto Rico. I am community leader and I came today to talk about FEMA and the refugees from Puerto Rico in Hartford. The mission of FEMA is, from the first day, to maintain its commitment to protect and serve the American people. That's commitment to the people they serve, and they believe if their mission focused on survivors will never change. But what has happened to that mission in the last 10 years is that the number of emergencies existing in the United States has changed FEMA's mission to protect the people of the United States, or is it the political change that has made racial division in the last 2 years? I remember that Hurricane Hugo. There was an immediate mobilization. They rebuilt houses in less than 6 months for those who were left without home and had no property titles. There was mobilization before and after the hurricane. Now, there are only myths and fantasies about this government department. For Hurricane Maria, many people saw shelters in the United States, especially in Hartford, because housing vouchers were promised to all those Puerto Ricans who arrived from the island within the period of September and October 2011. Many arrived with family and were hosted in hotels temporarily and without any other help. Others who arrived alone found coldness, desolation, anger, and nothing but discrimination. They end up sleeping in the street because they didn't know about shelters either. This crisis has increased employment, the basic needs and school of thousands of people. The crisis that affects Puerto Rico is affecting now Hartford because FEMA didn't handle it properly. If FEMA was not responsible with my countrymen, Hartford would not have to fight for their rights. Those people who are now Hartford residents deserve the same right as any Hartford resident. I know that the city council say they have given a lot of help to those people, but why do I still see refugees in the street of Hartford asking for help? Why are there still whole families in the shelters and in the others? We're here to demand, we are here to demand that you put this pressure on the Representative Larson and Senator Blumenthal to keep their promise to pressure FEMA to give rental assistance to the refugees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Morales Torres.
Mirka Dominguez, I'm going to be translating for her.
Buenas tardes a todos y a todas aquí presentes. Mi nombre es Merelis Torres. Estoy aquí para representar a todas las familias que son víctimas del huracán María, que salió de Puerto Rico en búsqueda de ayuda y un futuro mejor para nosotros y nuestras familias. Estoy aquí para decirles, 9 meses después del huracán, que todavía estamos esperando ayuda que no ha llegado. Debo decirle que lamento mucho todo lo que está sucediendo y que estoy decepcionada de ver cómo hemos sido tratados por este gobierno de este país, representantes en Connecticut y también aquí en Hartford. Innumerables veces los funcionarios del gobierno salieron en la radio y en la prensa y en televisión diciendo que nos ayudan, pero no ha pasado nada. Vengo del grupo de familias que se alojaron en el Red Rufín y que pensábamos que íbamos a ser tratados como ciudadanos de este país. Muchos de nosotros llegamos con un solo par de cambios de ropa y chancletas en maletas casi vacías. Había muchos de nosotros en el hotel, pero solo 10 de esas familias se han quedado. Las familias regresaron a la isla sin siquiera saber a dónde iban a vivir porque no tenían el apoyo que necesitaban aquí en Hartford. Mi gente se fue porque no nos ayudaron como deberían haberlo hecho. Somos ciudadanos de este país. Nos tratan como ciudadanos de segunda. Nuestra gente sirve con orgullo a este país en tiempos de guerra, pero cuando nuestra isla y nuestro pueblo son destruidos por un huracán categoría 5, los representantes de los Estados Unidos, Connecticut y Hartford solo hacen promesas y no nos ayudan. La solución no es ignorarnos. Debido a que este gobierno no nos ha ayudado a tener un mejor comienzo, todavía hay personas que se quedan en iglesias, albergues o con familiares y amigos. Todos saben que FEMA no ha sido de gran ayuda, pero el gobierno menos. Somos parte de ustedes ahora y vengo a recordarles que todavía estamos aquí peleando la buena batalla. Mientras yo tenga voz, continuaré recordándoles que todavía estamos aquí, que somos personas trabajadoras, familias con niños, que lo perdimos todo. Espero que lo que nos sucedió a nosotros nunca le suceda a ninguno de ustedes, ni a ninguno de los miembros de su familia, porque de ser así, nos recordarán a nosotros y al trato que hemos recibido. Estoy aquí con May de Rose, CT, y con mi comunidad, solicitando un apoyo para todos los que todavía estamos aquí y para aquellos que continúan viniendo de la isla por el huracán, para que no nos olviden. Por favor, firme nuestra petición, solicitando a los representantes electos que nos aseguren la vivienda. Y por favor, cada uno de ustedes tienen 2 cartas Si verdaderamente me apoyan y nos apoyan a nosotros, fírmenla. Gracias.
My name is Merelis Torres, and I represent all the families who are victims of Hurricane Maria that left Puerto Rico looking for help and a better future for ourselves and our families. I'm here to tell you, 9 months after the hurricane, we are still waiting for help that has not arrived. I have to say to you that I'm sorry to tell you I am disappointed to see how we have been treated by the government of this country, the representatives in Connecticut, and also here in Hartford. Countless times, government officials came out on the radio, in the press, and in television saying that they were helping us, but nothing happened. I come from the group of families that were housed in the Red Roof Inn. Thinking that we were going to be treated as citizens of the country, many of us arrived with just a couple of changes of clothes and flip-flops and an almost empty suitcase. There were many of us in the hotel, but only 10 of those families have stayed. Families returned to the island without even knowing where they were going to live because they did not have support they needed here in Hartford. These people left because we were not helped as we should have been as citizens of the United States. We are treated as second-class citizens. Our people proudly serve this country in wartime, but when our island and our people are destroyed by a Category 5 hurricane, representatives in the U.S., Connecticut, and Hartford only make promises and they do not help us. The solution is not to ignore us. Because this government has not helped us to have a better start, there are still people staying in churches, shelters, or with friends or family. Everyone knows that FEMA has not been a great help, but the government even less. We come to you now, and I come here to remind you that we are fighting the good fight. We are working people, families with children who lost everything. As long as I have a voice, I will continue to remind you that we are still here. Hopefully what happened to us will never happen to any of you or your family members. But if it does, you will remember us and the treatment we have received. I am here with Make the Road Connecticut and others asking for your support for all of us and for those who continue coming from the island. Please sign our petition. As we ask elected representatives to secure us housing. And please, each of you has a letter. If you support us, you will sign those letters. And one is for Blumenthal and one is for Senator Larson. We know that you have the power to put pressure on them to ask FEMA for rental assistance.
Thank you. Councilman Deutsch has a question.
Hello, and thank you. I'd like to know what we can do now, especially to assist residents who may be without medical care, without medicine, which could be shipped. Are there any needs you can mention to us for medical care and stuff like that that we should help send down?
Que si hay necesidad para ustedes que manden cosas como medicina para Puerto Rico.
Dile que Puerto Rico necesita toda la ayuda posible. Y la gente de aquí también, ahí tienen gente en la calle, viviendo en las calles aquí.
The Puerto Rican family here and in Puerto Rico, the families need all the help they can get. There's people here in Hartford on the streets that have nothing.
Thank you. Well said, thank you. Wilfredo Acevedo.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Wilfredo Acevedo Rodríguez. Soy natural del pueblo de Yabucoa, Puerto Rico. Poseo una maestría en Administración y Supervisión y tengo otra maestría en Consejería Profesional. Estuve trabajando en la Escuela Asunción Lugo de Yabucoa, Puerto Rico. Luego del catástrofe de Huracán María, la escuela quedó devastada. Nuestra facultad escolar se dedicó a organizar nuestras facilidades debido a que la ayuda nunca llegó de forma inmediata. Al mismo tiempo, reorganizando nuestras viviendas, ya que las mismas fueron dañadas significativamente. Las carreteras quedaron incomunicadas. Tardamos semanas, meses, para poder transitar por las mismas. Tengo problemas de salud y mi doctor cerró su oficina ya por la situación del huracán María. Y cada vez es más difícil poder recibir ayuda médica, así que me dirigí a los Estados Unidos. Viajé a Connecticut, donde vivo con mi hermana, 3 sobrinos y su esposo. Solicité ayuda del gobierno como el plan médico, servicios de alimentos. Agradezco los servicios adquiridos, los mismos han sido significativos y de gran bendición. No obstante, tengo la necesidad de vivienda. Visité varios apartamentos para llenar solicitud y la historia se repite. No hay espacio, las listas son interminables. Me comuniqué con FEMA y no recibí ningún tipo de ayuda, ya que la vivienda no pertenece a este servidor, sino que pertenece a la familia, a pesar que vivo en ella toda la vida. Tuve que dejar a mi abuela con mi familia, porque mi doctor de cabecera me insistió en que mi condición tenía que ser atendida. Yo estoy solicitando ayuda para vivienda, ya que mi familia me pide que busque un lugar. No es que de forma inmediata tengo que irme, pero necesito un lugar para yo poder vivir. En estos momentos siento que si no consigo un lugar para vivir, podría quedar desamparado. Como yo, existen muchos y cientos más en la misma situación en Hartford. Por eso me encuentro con esta entidad, Main Road, Connecticut, demandando ayuda de vivienda para suplir nuestras necesidades. Las familias desplazadas del huracán María, por favor, únanse a nosotros en nuestra lucha por conseguir una vivienda. Gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Wilfredo Acevedo Rodriguez, and I am from Yabucoa, Puerto Rico. I have a master's in administration and supervision and another in professional counseling. I was working at the Asunción Lugo School in Yabucoa, Puerto Rico when the hurricane hit the island. When Hurricane Maria devastated our school, faculty dedicated itself to fixing our facilities because help from the United States did not arrive. At the same time, we started repairing our homes as they suffered significant damage as well. The roads were cut off and it took weeks for people to be able to travel. I have health problems, and when my doctor closed his office, my medical condition became worse. My doctor insisted that my condition be attended to, so I came to the United States. I had to leave my grandmother with relatives, and I traveled to Connecticut, where I live with my sister and 3 nieces and her husband. I applied for government, medical, and food assistance. I appreciate the services that I have received, which have been significant and a great blessing. However, I am in need of housing. I went to several places here in Hartford and in other cities that were offering shelter to people from Puerto Rico fleeing Maria. I filled out many applications, but the story repeated itself. There was always no space, and the lists are endless. I did not receive any help from FEMA because even though I was born and raised in the house I lived in Puerto Rico, it did not belong to me. There are hundreds more in the similar situation in Hartford, and I am asking for housing assistance because my family needs me to find a place to live as soon as possible. In these moments, I feel that if I do not get a place to live, I will be homeless. That's why I'm here with Make the Road CT, demanding housing assistance for the families that are here because of Hurricane Maria. Please join us in our fight for secure housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Emilio Camacho.
Bien. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Emilio Camacho Nieves. Vine para acá por el huracán María también. Seguida que yo vine aquí tuve que meterme en casa de un nieto y quedé viviendo incómodo. La joven que me antecedió habló de que muchos han venido a servirle a la nación. Este servidor que está aquí fue uno de los que me llamaron obligatoriamente y yo con mucho orgullo vine a servirle a la nación a través del Army del Ejército de Estados Unidos. Lo hice con mucho orgullo y con ese mismo orgullo, cuando llegué aquí, me fui a VA. VA me ha brindado muchísima ayuda.
My name is Emilio Camacho Nieves. I came here because of Maria too, and when I came, I stayed with my grandson. Merelis previously talked about the Puerto Ricans who served during wartime, and I was one of them. I was drafted and proudly served my country. When I came here, the only place that helped me was the VA.
Recuerdo muy bien que VA lo primero que hizo fue que me metió al hotel en lo que me podían conseguir la ayuda. En ese hotel muchísimas veces nos reunimos con muchísimos de ustedes. Hubieron muchísimas promesas, empezando hasta ofreciendo vouchers de sección 8 para los que allí estaban. Pero las promesas se las ha llevado un pajarito. Nosotros venimos aquí no a pedir más promesas, nosotros venimos aquí a pedir acción. Este grupo que está aquí, que es May Road, con mucho amor trata de ayudarnos a todos los que hemos venido de Puerto Rico. Pero sin la ayuda de ustedes, que son los que tienen el poder, ellos muy pocas cosas pueden hacer.
So immediately when I came, the VA put me in a hotel, and there were many other families from Puerto Rico, and many of us, the families, met with you. And all there was promises. We met with you constantly, and nothing was ever met. And today we didn't come here for more promises. We came here for action. We need your help, and it's always great that we have a community like Make the Road, but we need people like you who are in power to do things for us too.
Muchas personas que todavía continúan en el hotel, mas continúan aquí metidos en alguna iglesia, no tienen esa dicha de ir a VA a pedir ayuda. Pero sí, nosotros venimos a nombre de todo eso a pedirle a ustedes que por favor firmen la carta que nosotros le hemos entregado y que nos brinden la ayuda necesaria a este grupo para poder salir hacia adelante los que vinieron de Puerto Rico, que según venimos aquí a arriesgar nuestras vidas sirviendo a la nación, creemos que también si somos ciudadanos para una cosa, ciudadanos americanos para una cosa, debemos ser ciudadanos americanos para todo. Les pido por favor que ayuden a este grupo para que ellos así puedan también ayudar a todos los puertorriqueños que hemos venido a través de María.
So many people are still in the hotel and in the church, and not many of them were as fortunate as I was to get help from the VA. So we're here to ask you to sign the letter. You can look it over and we will follow up, but we want the chance for these families to move forward, and many like him have served our nation, so if they're citizens, when they are serving our nation, they should be treated as citizens at other times.
Thank you.
Gracias anticipadas y esperamos en Dios que ustedes nos presten la ayuda necesaria. Muchas gracias.
Thanks in advance, and we hope that you support us.
Thank you. Jesus Gonzalez.
Good evening, my beautiful people. I'll be brief. I'm here with Make the Road, Connecticut. I'm actually from Bushwick, Brooklyn, with Make the Road, New York. 20 years ago, we started in the church basement. And so one of the founding members, I'm also representing Spike Lee, who's also helping to elevate the crisis in Puerto Rico. We were just in Puerto Rico about a week ago. And so I'm here because there's hundreds of families here in Hartford, Connecticut, who did not ask to leave Puerto Rico, who did not want to leave Puerto Rico. They were forced to leave Puerto Rico. They left because there were hospitals across the island have closed. Schools, over the last month or so, over 300 schools have closed, and there was no electric for months. They were forced to flee, and the federal government's response has been abysmal. There has been total dysfunction by the leader, our commander-in-chief. And so municipalities across this country have been forced to step up. In New York, in Pennsylvania, in Florida, here in Hartford, Connecticut, in Nevada, each municipality has been doing their own unique way to address this crisis and to come up with a more permanent housing solution for these families. In comparison, not to compare the crises, because both have gone through their fair share of pain. When Hurricane Katrina happened, families that were displaced got a housing solution for 2 years, temporary housing for 2 years. When Hurricane Maria happened in Puerto Rico, within 3 months, families were being kicked out of hotels, being sent back to the island. And that speaks for itself. And so we're asking for Hartford to step up, to come up with a more permanent housing solution. So please, please don't turn your backs like the federal government has. Please urge the federal government to pay attention. Just because we turn our backs doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. And so here's an opportunity to work with community leaders, to work with folks who are directly impacted to address this crisis. We urge you to sign on to this letter tonight. Thank you. I'm also with the National Organization Center for Popular Democracy, which is Make Thorough Connecticut's national organization. We're in 36 states. There's about 52 affiliate organizations. And I'm available for questions and also can provide examples of how different cities have stepped up to this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. William Clark. William Clark.
Good evening. I'm William Clark, Granby Street in Hartford, and I have a concern that I've kind of gotten more answers to before getting here. I don't want to talk.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a concern that I think I've gotten more answers to before getting here than I had before coming. But my initial concern was the lack of urban youth diversity at the Keeney Park Golf Course facility, both inside management, on the course, and in the food facility. I have had the opportunity to do some services out there for fundraising groups for the past 3 years or so before the facility was completed. And I noticed each time that we were out there that people who looked like myself were very, very short in numbers. And that was, to me, just not an equal opportunity served by a community just doorsteps, just feet away from the entrance to the park. And I have an understanding, and I may be incorrect, but from my notations, that the council played a part in helping them to raise their $5.8 million in the renovation of the park, and the question of the golf course itself, I believe. And my question is, did the council ever expect to see some of that return in some way, shape, or form to the community right outside of the golf course? You got kids out there, $5.8 million in North Hartford could have gone a long way. So I think that basically that's, in a nutshell, what I was trying to present here, to see if there's anything on the table, any solutions in the workings of getting more youth and adults actively employed for training and for positions that they are qualified to be a part of in a public golf course that's right in our backyard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Green.
Good evening. I come here today to speak on my thoughts and my feelings about the situation with an officer, I believe Officer Barone, in the videotape that I saw in the news on Friday. Since I've seen that video, I must tell you, as a resident and citizen of Hartford, I felt intimidated, and I feel threatened, and I feel afraid. I feel very afraid when I hear two particular statements. An officer says that I'm trigger happy. That to me is alarming to me, and I believe every citizen in the city of Hartford. And then the officer says, I can make a lot of money in overtime. And I think he alluded to somehow if he shot someone. And I have to go back and see specifically how he connected those two. But the fact that he could say, I'm trigger happy and that I can make a lot of money on overtime tells me that this officer should not be in a uniform of the Hartford Police Department. I strongly suggest that the council, thank you. I need about 10 more seconds from the clapping that I paused. I believe that this officer's thoughts and actions, and I don't know this individual, but I believe that those thoughts and those words and those actions indicates a culture in law enforcement, which I believe is a paramilitary organization. I'm not going to do a paintbrush and say all officers and the men and women of our police force are like that. In fact, I believe that majority are not like that. But I believe the institution has a culture that allows, for my understanding, my observation, allows an officer to be comfortable to make those kind of statements to the citizens in Hartford. If that is a feeling of any officer, that officer should not be on the force. I do get concerned based on the culture of that institution that our mayor, city council, the police chief having been very forceful and very strong that this is the kind of behavior that we will not tolerate in our police officers, that officer needs to be off duty without pay, let the process go through, but I strongly suggest that in any job, there are possibilities that if that person is not performing a job, they could be fired. The other point that I was very much concerned about is that in reading more of the situation, this officer was reprimanded and was suspended 4 days 2 years ago. And through the process of him applying to be a sergeant, the first time I understand that he applied, after this incident of being suspended, he was not promoted. But then shortly thereafter, he was promoted. So here's an individual that was suspended for improperly turning off the video camera in his vehicle, which I believe was against the police procedure, was suspended. And as he was suspended, shortly thereafter, he was promoted. What kind of message does the city of Hartford send to its citizens when a person and a police officer that's supposed to protect and serve was given a suspension and then get promoted? We've heard that story before where people who have violated the trust of this community and been promoted. We do not want to tolerate that anymore. I believe, and let me just conclude by saying, as I looked over the agenda for tonight, and I looked under the citizens' agenda item number 3, the city of Hartford is talking about making a settlement of $100,000 to an individual based on the city and based on Officer May. I don't know the circumstances around that, but just that item number 3, that settlement tells me that we as taxpayers and citizens of Hartford are paying money based on the conduct possibly of officers. The police department talks about transparency. I don't know what that's all about, and because you guys are in litigation, I don't really need to know right now. But if you're at the point where you're talking about a $100,000 settlement for the behavior of a police officer, that to me indicates a culture that we need to stop right now and not tolerate. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus Spiner.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcus Spinner. I'm from 249 Sisson Ave. To any trigger-happy police in the hallway, I'm unarmed. I repeat, to any trigger-happy police in the hallway, I am unarmed. I come before you today with a very alarming statistic from the National Center for Women and Policing. 2 studies have found that over 40% of families with police officers experience domestic violence in the home. I repeat, over 40% of police officer families experience domestic violence in the home. I'm going to let y'all marinate on that for a second. 40%. I come before you today as a mental health professional trained as an expert in de-escalation strategies for people who have committed violent crimes like murder, manslaughter, and serial sexual assault. I am a professional in de-escalating situations which are about to escalate into violence. I am also a professional in de-escalating police. I shouldn't have to have been trained by my mom in order to handle trigger-happy police officers who pull me over. And I shouldn't have to come to City Hall to talk about this crap anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of filling this room with other organizers year after year after year asking for some sort of oversight and getting the same rigmarole. And I'm tired of hearing officers like Barone put on, what is this community policing effort? After he had previous incidences of shutting off his camera during incidents of pulling people over. How do we do that as a city? How do we put someone like that in charge of community policing? How does that happen? 40 staff at Whiting Forensic Hospital were found to be complicit or directly involved in patient abuse. And as a direct response of that, we put cameras all over that hospital. You can't shut them off. They're in every corner, and staff are monitored 24/7. We can't shut those cameras off. And we have an independent investigatory body monitoring us at all times. We work with people who committed murder. They work with the public. So I'm sorry, they shouldn't be able to shut their cameras off. And I'm here today to testify in support of any kind of ordinance which supports any kind of criminal justice reform in Hartford, because I'm sick of this crap. I shouldn't have to deal with it, and I shouldn't have to be worried when I go home that a trigger-happy cop who saw me on the news might harass me when I get pulled over. Thank you.
Thank you. Takoya Omara Otunu. I hope I said that right.
Good afternoon. My name is Tekoa Omara Otunu, 58 Oxford Street. I'll keep this brief because there are a lot of people here who need to speak. I am here today as a resident of Hartford. I'm here today as a black woman, and I'm here today as an artist who loves this city. I'm here to demand that the voices and concerns of the people be valued and acted upon. I'm here to ask the city to remember its responsibility to protect and serve the people of Hartford, not to be the ones that we feel we have to protect ourselves from. I want to clearly state that I am not in support of using surveillance drones or taxpayer dollars to pay the salaries of law enforcement that do not respect our humanity or the weight of their responsibility to the people of Hartford. I am here in support of the formation of a criminal justice reform commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Barbara from Hardwick Street. Barbara from Hardwick Street. Okay, Kathy Evans.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Evans. I live at 105 Newington Avenue in Hartford.
Colin Billings, 173 Fairfield Avenue.
I'm the co-chair of the Southwest and Behind the Rocks NRZ, and we're here to support the passage of our strategic plan, which is on your agenda. I believe it's item 32. Southwest and Behind the Rocks NRZ is the last two neighborhoods in Hartford to have an NRZ, so we're a little behind the curve here. But we're hoping that this agenda item can be passed and we can become an official NRZ. We've had our members work really hard for about 3 years on this plan, so we hope you support it. Thank you.
We understand that that our strategic plan has already been through the state process and the city planning and zoning. We would appreciate it if the council would take as prompt action as possible on it. Thank you very much.
Hyacinth Yenny.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well this evening. I'm Hyacinth Yenny. I'm here to talk about one or two things. One of my most important things to talk about right now is the quality of life in our city. And I'm not sure what you guys see when you drive out there or if you even see anything. You know, I walk the street at times just to see what's going on, and when I get stopped by a resident, what is it they talk about? The quality of life, the mattresses, the TV, and all those things. Now, I remember you guys might have passed an ordinance around this bulky waste pickup and stuff like that. But did anyone talk about educating people about this whole process and how it works? And realize that most likely it would not work? So because of that, the street is looking bad. Really looking bad. I've never seen it this bad. All right? So I'm not sure what you guys are thinking, what committee is meeting to talk, and how we're going to address this issue. You know, I'm not sure how many of you drive off the highway, driving main streets, driving park streets, driving some of these streets that have mediums that we as residents or design with the overgrown grass and stuff like that. And then we look at, who do we have in public works? We have an acting public works director who is our fire chief doing the job. And I'm just saying, council, why do you allow this to go on? Don't you have a say in moving this agenda item to get a public works director to focus on public work issue in our city? Because if you don't, I'm not sure why you guys are even up there. Because to me, I would want to make sure we have a public works director and we have people that works with public works director to help us clean our streets. And it is sad because, you know, people look at us from the outside and say, why is our city look the way it does? We need to do something. I mean, I do my part. Trust me, I have islands that I have adopted and I've been cleaning. But when I look in general in the city, it's overwhelming. It's overgrown. Somebody has to take care of it. All right? I have spoken about at the last minute to talk about you guys need to know who are in these departments, zoning, license inspection, public works, to make sure all of these departments are staffed with people to do the work. We look at our forestry. The tree that fell in the park the other day, that could have been avoided. We know that tree was rotten from the bottom quite a while, been sitting there, and we know that kids play there every day. But yet we wait for something to happen. Now we're gonna all have to pay. And that's what we do as a city. We paid and we paid and we paid. All right? We don't have money to hire people, but we keep paying and paying for people who sue us. All right? Because it's not just we say the city is being sued. We as residents being sued too. All right? So we need to seriously get our act together and know who we got in these departments to make sure they're doing their job. Okay? Residency requirement, we need to seriously look at the suburban town and see who do they have. Those people have to live there? We are really hampering ourselves when we talk about we can't hire somebody because they don't live here. You know, we have to seriously look at that, all right? Because we're not getting our back for a month, so we need to seriously look at that. If people want to live here, they will live here, like anywhere else, okay? So let's get our act together as council. I'm here to support, but I want to make sure the city is doing their jobs. Our blighted building in the city, our overgrown grass is so bad. You know, calling 311 to do something, we can wait forever. Because if they don't have the staff to do the work, nothing gets done. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you guys, do something. Drive around the city and see what I see. And then maybe you'll make a decision. We need a public works director. Thank you.
Thank you. The topic is housing. I think it's Tammy or Jamie. It's very hard to read the name. Is that?
It's Tammy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I
That's
was writing
okay.
real fast.
That's okay.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Tammy Leach, and I reside in Hartford, Connecticut on the North End. I'm here in support of the Commission on Criminal Justice Reform, and it's regarding housing. I'm in support of this because I feel that there is a great need for affordable housing within the formerly incarcerated individuals. I don't have statistics, but I have personal experience, and I've talked to people, and I see it on a day-to-day basis. The homelessness, the issues that come with homelessness, I think there's a great need that the city needs to look at and address their housing and to make it affordable, because I don't think these people, when they come out, they have any type of resources that are helping them. So I am in support of the Commission on Criminal Justice Reform in regards to housing. Okay. Oh, Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dave Yano. Dave?
Good evening, council members, Hartford residents. My name is Dave Yano. I live at 150 Warrington Avenue. I'm on the MDC commission as a commissioner for Hartford. I'm a retired Hartford Public Library city employee of AFSCME 1716. I'm also president of Chapter 42 of Veterans for Peace. It's time to tell the tale. War stories have always had an attraction, especially to young males seeking to validate their manhood. A true war story has no moral rectitude. A true war story has an uncompromising allegiance to obscenity and evil. True war stories are revealing and often an indictment of inhuman acts committed by men who no longer recognize and the faces of their own people. If you want to test yourself and measure the strength of your own character, see if you have the courage to refuse to participate in killing, rape, or torture. See if you have the courage to resist a direct order to kill non-combatants or join a gang rape. Cowards have no ability to resist peer pressure or to question what they know is wrong. Cowards follow orders without question. I went to Vietnam as an American fighting man and came home as a human being, and that is why I feel as a stranger in a strange land. I am still traveling, engaged in an odyssey it seems endless. I no longer recognize my home. The constant drumbeat of fear that the media and our elected leaders' trumpet has turned the American people into paranoid psychotics. We have willingly sacrificed our children on the altar of militarism and have corrupted their character with easy kills. Our technology enables the bravery of being out of range and exposes the cowardice of collateral damage. How much is an Afghan or Iraq child worth? How much are your children worth? In Vietnam, there was a term, a solatium. This was a payment made to a family whose member has been killed or by accident, mistake, or friendly fire. A Vietnamese child was worth $500. That was supposed to absolve us of the killing. There is a direct correlation between the increase in violence and the return of veterans from overseas. Men who have been trained to kill by reflex and have been psychologically conditioned to regard other human beings as less than themselves are a walking time bomb. We have brought our wars home with us and have gifted them to America. When the planes flew into the World Trade Center, Vietnam veterans that I knew said, "Welcome to the war, America." One of my brothers in arms who was at Khe Sanh and has since died of cancer said they should have flown the planes into Wall Street. This is the bitter, strange fruit that we are harvesting now in our communities. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are a ripe crop of death and destruction that will be with us soon. Heroin addiction is also coming out of the poppy fields in Afghanistan. The overrunning of the fire bases in Afghanistan, where 9 American GIs were killed, is a harbinger of things to come. The reason I talk about this is evident by when I came home, they tried to recruit us into the police force. And when you heard about Officer Barone, his trigger-happy statements, that's what prompted me to come down here and say this. When I was walking through a ville, we used to carry AK-47s as drop guns. We would drop them in the village so we could say there was resistance. A lot of police officers do that also. I would hope that you would listen to the residents of Hartford about how to end this violence. One thing you could do is start teaching conflict resolution in the schools and also reopen your branch libraries. Instead of looking at the brand's name downtown, you need to reopen those libraries.
Estela Sagara.
Buenas tardes. Good evening, everybody. I just want to thank the Mayor Luke Browning for my appointment to the Golf Course Oversight Commission and the ladies and gentlemen in the council, especially Councilman Sanchez and Mali Rosado. They have support, very supportive. By the way, I have attended to the last 3 monthly meetings for the Golf Commission, and I'm very glad to see that everything is going well. The golf courses look in a great shape, and the numbers are looking good. So I'm glad to see all the programs that are running there, the partnerships with the First Tee, with the PGA. Very positive things are going on, and I'm very proud to share that the Connecticut Latina Golf Team is a nice program, and that's something that I am part of this golf initiative. Because when I came to this country in 2007, I've been a golfer since I was like 8 years old. So golf is my passion, and to me it was important to introduce golf to other ladies and Latino, because I noticed that when I joined a couple leagues, I was the only Latina. So to me, it was important to do something for my community. And the first 2 ladies that I called was Carmen Sierra and Lina Rodriguez. So we call our friends, and our friends call other friends, and we have helped to introduce many other ladies. Some of them are here tonight with me, and they are not just Latinas, they are women, powerful women from all over Connecticut. We love to come to Goodwin Park, learn from the professional golfers. We're having a good time. Everything is positive. We love the networking, and it looks, when we go there, it's safe, and we have a great time. So to me, be part of the Golf Commission is very positive. I'm looking forward for the next meetings. And I would love also to continue helping the Latina community, not just the ladies, but I would like to help the men, the youth, the children, because this is a great sport, very positive. So thank you for the opportunity tonight. Buenas noches.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. For those of you who don't recognize this young lady here, Estela Morales, she, I'd like to congratulate her. She had a vision to start an all-women's and Latinas golf league in the city of Hartford at Goodwin Golf Course. I must say that her accomplishment is outstanding. She started last year, possibly around November, December, if I recall our conversation. She has brought a tremendous amount of interest to the young ladies, to all women in Hartford. And she has accomplished from starting with 3 people to a total of 90 within the year. So she has already had 3 sessions of golf lessons, and it continues to grow. Thank you, Estela, for your commitment to the city of Hartford and bringing something positive to the golf course in Goodwin Park and also to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Taisha Tyson.
Hello, my name is Taisha Tyson. I'm the president of the Greater Hartford Youth Branch of the NAACP. There was an incident at the Jerk Fest where a cop was arresting my friend. I believe that he was swerving on a bike, like through the crowds, and they started to claim that he was resisting the arrest, but that wasn't until his arm was twisted back, like really far back, and the cop started to punch him in his arm to a point where you can break his arm, and that was the point where I started to record. And there was a lot of teens that was behind me, like yelling at the cops. One cop, the cop that I wasn't recording, he was doing his job correctly. He was trying to arrest him and trying to assess the situation, but the other cop was making it difficult to arrest him. And when I was recording, he started to yell at me, and he maced me like directly in my face, And I want to mention that if I had asthma, I would have died. I swear I would have died, because the way I was trying to breathe for air, like I was hyperventilating, like it felt like I was having an asthma attack. So if I would have had asthma, I would have died, and I just want to state that. And after I had got maced, the other teens that was watching had mentioned to me that they beat him with a baton, they tased him, and they maced him, and then arrested him. I just don't want the cops who are policing, like, in my community to think that this is okay and that this will become a trend and that we will start to run Hartford or police Hartford in a way that every other day you hear a teen or somebody of color is being beaten and killed for no reason. I don't want Hartford to become like that. I also want to mention that one of my friends told me that there's a cop, I forgot his name, but they said that if he catches you, like, you better run. Because if you don't run, he's gonna beat you, like, so bad. And I feel like that, coming from my friends, and they feel like this is okay, I can't accept that. That's not how, we don't feel safe. When there's police who perform in that manner, we don't feel safe. And this is why we don't speak to the cops. This is why we don't feel safe around the cops. And the last thing I wanted to say was, after parties or any teen events, the cops will follow us, and they'll say little stuff in the speakers, like, and so we can hear them. I was just at a party, and at the end they said something like, "Oh, go home to your little mommies. We don't want to babysit you guys all night." I feel like that's childish. You guys are grown men following teens all the way down Main Street or all the way down any main street doing this. Like, how old are we? And that's just all I wanted to say. I don't think that this should become a habit of the Hartford Police Department. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lynch?
Yes. Do you have the date or the badge number of that police officer?
I took a video, and I was trying to screenshot. You could see a few letters. I'm pretty sure if they know the police officers' names, they can catch it, maybe be able to pronounce it, because...
That's okay. Can you give me your contact information? Because I think that this is a civilian police complaint, and there is a form that you can fill out to file an official complaint on the officer or officers who are creating this bullying environment for children.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Taisha, for your voice and your leadership. Thank you. Mary Sanders?
Good evening. My name is Mary Sanders, and I've been a resident of Hartford for 24 years. I'm at 184 Preston Street. A couple of issues. Keeping with the theme, I congratulate this young lady for taking a stand and everybody else who's standing up to police bullying, to lack of transparency, to lack of accountability. The officer involved in the other night's incident had been previously suspended or disciplined and came back as a sergeant, so I guess people figure they can get away with whatever. As far as the establishment of a criminal justice reform commission, I want to know how will that work with the existing police civilian review board, or is that still even functioning? I know there was some of the commissioners were replaced last year, and I'm not sure, how that's all working. But a lot of stuff going on in Hartford, and the more people that we have watching things, I suppose it's better. It's a thing of priorities, even looking at some of the other items on the agenda tonight. I'm very happy to see all the appointments made to some of the commissions, the Commission on Aging, the Permanent Commission on the Status of Hartford Women. That's great. A lot of great people are going to be put on these commissions to make some changes. My question is, what about the Housing Commission? Has that been fully staffed? I've spoken about that, for the past couple of years, saying that the Housing Commission was something that Joel Cruz did in his final days on the council. It was established and no one was ever appointed when I last checked. There was like 18 months after the establishment of that commission. And I think having functioning commissions would help that Office of Enforcement, the code enforcement, to be properly staffed and funded. We need to look at priorities. I know you guys are juggling a difficult budget and so many things going on, but I see on the agenda the establishment of mini soccer fields. Okay, so great. We're going to have $10 million spent over at Dillon for soccer, and I've been asking for somebody to fix the basketball court at Goodwin Park for the past couple of years. A kid got hurt by a tree, but that basketball court is all cracked. There's a couple-inch gap all around the edges of it, and I go over there at night, and the kids are playing basketball in the dark. At least get some lights in there, I know now with all the trees that have been cut down, maybe they'll have some more street light from the cars passing by, but it's not fair for the kids to be playing in the dark while you have investments going on in other areas that, will not affect as many children. I think one more thing I wanted to speak on was the drones. The Commission on Economic and Community Development giving money for drones, that surprises me. And also the Section 8 vouchers, you need to put pressure on FEMA to get help for people that relocated here from Puerto Rico. We need to get more housing assistance in any way, shape, or form for people coming out of incarceration, for people that are just been dealing with poverty all these years. But the need for housing in Hartford is critical, as well as the need to provide positive environments for youth. So I don't envy your jobs. I know you have a lot to juggle, but I would be happy to answer any questions or see how I can work with any of the commissions to contribute something from my 35 years in human services. I see a question.
Councilman Deutsch.
Hi, Mary, do you have any names of those interested in housing or other commissions so we can see if it's been processed? In other words, we'll check where it stands.
I don't know who has applied. I know that apparently people are being interviewed for different commissions, and there's people out there with a lot of good skills that can, if they can serve on one commission, maybe they'd be willing to serve on another commission. I just know that, with nobody there, if people are filing complaints against landlords, if there's code violations that are not being enforced.
So if someone wants to be on a commission, do they get a letter back saying that they received the letter and appreciate their volunteering, or no letter?
I'm not sure how that works. I know that you have a person here in City Hall that's in charge of all those appointments, and I don't know what's being done to advertise the need for commissioners in different areas. And like I said, it's great that the Commission on Aging and Women and Golf and Cultural Affairs have all had appointments, but I never see any appointments to some of the more critical commissions.
Thank you. William Moffett.
Hi, I'm Will Moffett from 121 Heath Street. It was a little less than a year ago, I was here ranting and raving, per usual, about Officer Stephen Barone, who had just been promoted, despite the year before that him getting suspended for 4 days for his involvement in the Sergeant Spell case. The same case that in the middle of our mayor decided to completely change the makeup of the Civilian Police Review Board, sort of kind of preventing that from going completely forward and broadening the scope of the case. And despite that, Barone not only received the promotion to sergeant, but under a new police chief is made one of the leads of the civilian response unit, a strike team that many in the community thought would be a continuation of the type of racist, broken window policing that we see. Stephen Barone would have been the one who would have been controlling these drones that many of us are concerned about. And I told you so's don't matter, because I told you so's don't fix broken institutions. And we can come out and condemn the individual, but this is not an individual problem. This is an institutional problem. And if we're not willing to stand up to have a review board that acts, our mayor said he condemned it, but he said, oh, in internal affairs, they'll take care of it. We don't need an independent investigation. Come on, please. We need people who will stand up, change the rules and the systems to contain trust. Because Barone could have been, this whole thing could have been avoided. If he was held accountable for the actions he did, if he was truly vetted, he wouldn't have been in that position. And if that person didn't record him doing that, he wouldn't have got caught. He wouldn't have got caught, and he would have kept doing it. And what would have happened next? What would have happened if his talk wasn't talk and he really felt trigger happy? And I bring this up again and again to a lot of people, but just institutional memory loss is so repugnant in this city. But RoboCop was promoted, despite how dirty they knew he was. People like Chris Lyons are given positions, and all these corrupt cops are able to do what they want, and we will never send a message. And you can't blame the community for being frustrated. So no amount of coffees with the chief, no amount of forums, no amount of training can fix this problem. If we can't admit it and face it, because next time there's not going to be talk, there's going to be a dead kid on the street, and we will all be responsible for it because we could have stopped it and we didn't. Please.
Thank you. Kevin or Kelvin? Kelvin?
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk about the Commission of Criminal Justice Reform. My name is Kelvin Young, and I'm a sound practitioner, recovery coach here in Hartford, Connecticut. But most importantly for me, I'm a person that's in recovery from alcohol and other drugs. For me, after many years of battling with depression, anxiety, and drug addiction, I found freedom from alcohol, from marijuana, from cocaine, from heroin, from prescription opiates, and I began my healing process in a drug treatment program within prison. And within this prison program, I learned about the transformative powers of yoga, meditation, and creative expressive arts like poetry. And I had a lot of misconceptions about these practices because I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me practice these things. But I had to step out of my comfort zone. And by utilizing meditation and different holistic practices, I was able to find a sense of inner peace and calmness in being in a very hostile and restrictive environment such as prison. But most importantly, I was able to understand the root causes of my experiences with addiction. And from my experience, I learned that it was the unhealed, unprocessed emotional pain, the trauma, the toxic stress was at the root of addiction. And I had that opportunity to learn that while I was incarcerated. And once I was released, I had people there to support me so I won't be a part of that recidivism statistics. And one of the programs that really helped me was the ATR program. And it really helped me because it connected me with a recovery coach. And I met with a recovery coach within the community and supported me. They supported me in the community and really linked me to different resources within the community, like Easter Seals and Goodwill Industries, and really programs to help me with employment, to find gainful employment, to help me with different other resources within the community. So one of my issues is to really stop the recidivism statistic, to really empower people with different programs to help to not be a part of that recidivism statistics. Programs such as having recovery coaches to support people, because over 88% of people that's incarcerated have an issue with substance use disorder. So therefore, how do we support people with their needs, with addressing the root causes of their experiences with addiction and addressing the root causes of why they're going into prison in the first place? So linking them with proper housing, linking with people with opportunities to find jobs, and really deal with the root causes of their emotional pain and the stress, having different services available to meet the mental health needs, to really support them so they won't be part of that recidivism statistic. So I'm just here to really to support people, to really encourage them to do the inner work they need to do in order to heal and not be a part of that recidivism statistic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sandy from Victoria Road.
I also live on Franklin Avenue. Thank you for listening to me today. My name is Sandy Lamonaco, and I'm here on the behalf of ACLU Smart Justice Campaign, and I'm living with a criminal record. I was supported and privileged to have earned 2 master's degrees in public health and in social work. We stand here today in support of the Criminal Justice Commission. We needed to move forward towards a prison decarceration model, not to put people away in prisons. We are testifying in support of these recommendations and concerns. Number 1, to prioritize formerly incarcerated people to be in leadership with the Criminal Justice Commission, and to expand on the definition of public safety and the traditional public health outside of law enforcement's reactionary responses, and move towards a truly preventative and effective model that is backed up by research. We want you to prioritize the commission to be reflective of the population that it serves. We also would like for you to make changes to provide quarterly reports versus annual reports, included to present the law enforcement assisted diversionary program approaches and data that hopefully are collected in Hartford by the Hartford Police Department. This program is going on right now as we speak. Is it going according to the lead program as it suggests out of Washington State? We don't know. Are they actually trained properly? Are we following up? We don't know. So we hope that you can include that in the commission. And also the power of subpoena. So we can subpoena and extend that power to the commission so they can effectively review documents from the city government departments, as the city council has the power to do right now, so that it can be better informed by actual real-time data, and we can inform Hartford residents. We believe that this will be helpful to the residents of Hartford, formerly incarcerated persons, to families inside of Hartford and the greater Hartford area, and to all government be informed by this Criminal Justice Commission. And then I want to take a moment as a resident of Hartford, and I want to talk about the abuse of authority. I need a moment. I'm gonna flip. Police and court abuse authority every day, and I know this firsthand. I've been told by officers that they don't care about me, and they don't care if I was guilty or not guilty of the crime that they were arresting me for. They just were arresting me because I had a criminal record. The cops told me it was not their job to investigate if I really did this crime. It was the court's. When I went to court, thank you, the prosecutor told me it was not their job to investigate, that it was the police's job to investigate. So this ping pong messed with my life and led to a criminal conviction and a plea bargain, because I could not afford a lawyer to go to trial and fight this. I'm pretty sure that this happens to people of color every day, and this happens to the 15% of people incarcerated right now that come home to Hartford. Families in Hartford do not pay tax dollars for injustices like this, and abuse like this, in a horrible system. We paid for this system. We heard about the trigger-happy police officer, and if that were to happen and switched around and a teenager said that to a police officer, they'd probably be charged with attempted murder. I think about if this was my 17-year-old daughter, and how would police react to her saying those same exact words. This is an abuse of authority that needs to end now. This abuse of authority is created within that culture, and we need to address it. I wonder how many people in here have children that are teenagers and feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Hammond.
Leslie Hammond, 1 Linden Place. I'm just like so emotional hearing some of the testimony. It's such a privilege to hear citizens when they come forward and speak from their heart about what's going on in our city. I also, with the trigger-happy policemen, I'm just outraged. And if you look up, you'll see there's not just one court case, the 2-year one from 2 years ago that we all know about. There's another one where he beat somebody up who's taking him to federal court. So they knew about him. They knew about him. And I think that's why we're all so outraged. And I've been coming here to council, as you know, for almost 3 years. And I remember clearly talking about the Civilian Police Review Board. And does it meet? Does it do anything? Do we hear what's going on? Do they have quorums? After the mayor took off some people that really should have been on that Civilian Police Review Board. So, you know, as everybody has so clearly said here, we're really sick of it. Everything else I was planning to say seems really kind of, you know, doesn't compare. I've told Councilman Clark before, the Commission on Criminal Justice Reform is very needed. I'm glad that all these other commissions are finally getting people. But you know, I'm like, are they really going to happen? Are they going to meet regularly? Are they going to have quorums? Will they have city staff to support them? We have some great commissions. You know, there are a few that meet regularly, that have city staff and really run well. But this is ridiculous that it's been almost 3 years and now these commissions are getting filled. It's appalling, it's dysfunctional, and it's really frustrating. But I pray and I hope that they do run and they do what they're supposed to be doing. As Councilman Sanchez said, Estela Morales Segura has just done an amazing job getting the women together at Goodwin Park. Since we've spent millions on our golf courses, this is really exciting. Keeney Women's Links is going really well, and that's to be celebrated since we have spent so much money on the golf courses. Lastly, the reentry center. I reached out to the gal who's going to be running it, Sue Gutterman. I asked her if she could just give me a brief statement that I could put on social media, and she said she had to check with the mayor. So I'm still waiting because I said, this is a good idea. It's going to have a ribbon cutting in a month. It's kind of a good idea that people know this is happening and what it's all about. Thank you, and welcome to Councilwoman Rosado.
Thank you. Gail?
Good evening. My name is Gail Rosenberg Powell. I live on Elizabeth Street in Hartford, and I'm a lifelong resident, all of 67 years. I'm here to talk about a topic that hasn't been brought up, and that is about pensions, and the article that was in the paper today regarding that, and the statement made by some of our council members. And I have a real concern that we are not considering a change with new hires.
Can you just speak a little bit into the mic so everybody can hear? Thank you.
Okay, I thought I was. So I'm concerned about the article that was in today's paper regarding the opportunity to change our pension plans for the city of Hartford, and the reticence and reluctance by some of our council people to consider that change. Tonight, we've listened to everybody's needs in this city. We have so many needs. We have so many concerns that need to be addressed. At the very least, we can begin the process of putting this city on some stronger financial standing. And we know that the citizens of Hartford can no longer sustain the pension system that's in place. It is unsustainable. And I don't understand how any of the council members could consider anything but the proposal that the mayor made. You know, I happen to work outside of the city, and I've done so for 40 years. And I listen to a lot of people talk about Hartford in really terrible terms. And when the mayor went and asked for a bailout at the state legislature, and I also am at the state legislature often as a representative for an organization that I belong to pertaining to my work, all you hear is, why should we support Hartford? It's so poorly run. They waste every resource they have. So we need to be able to hold our heads high when we go. We need to be able to make the proper fiscal decisions and put city residents first. We're talking about new hires here. We're talking about non-union employees. Why do we have to put new hires who don't even exist on our payrolls yet ahead of our residents? That's crazy. And I don't care if the change financially is only incremental. It's the right path forward. If we don't make this change, we'll continue to be branded as a city that doesn't care about its citizens and continues to bother themselves with silly things.
Thank you. Donald?
Hello, Council. I'm Reverend Don Padgett. I'm the president of Hartford Community Leaders, and I would like to make a statement in reference to the recent news in Hartford about the police officer that was placed on paid administration leave. Our community is hurting right now from this situation, and I think it's our duty as citizens to make this statement from our community group. As a community advocates, we are outraged at the remarks of the Hartford police officer. This action doesn't reflect our community. We need to ensure accountability in the police training to prevent another tragedy. There have been too many lives lost due to police killings. Too many phone calls telling families that their loved ones, particularly young Black men, won't be coming home. But in most cases, it isn't because individual police officers are consciously racist or think Black lives doesn't matter. It is because officers perform the way they are trained to perform. We need to hire more police officers that look like and reflect our community. In addition, have more foot patrol and community engagement. We call on the City Hall officials to take immediate action and work with the citizens for healing. And I have a copy for all of the officials.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes our public hearing. We will be back for our regular council meeting. Thank you.
Howard, thanks for having that, that opinion sent. I read it, and we'll talk another time about it. I read it, we'll talk another time about it. This is for anyone. You can keep it.
Good evening. We're going to get started. Council members. Good evening and welcome to our first monthly meeting of August 13th. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Bermudez,
Present. Present.
Councilman Clark,
Present.
Councilman Deutsch,
Present.
Councilwoman Fox, Councilman Gale. Here. Councilwoman Rosado,
Present.
Councilman Sanchez. Present. Councilwoman Thames,
Present.
Councilwoman Winch.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. Can we please rise and recite the pledge? Thank you. I believe tonight we don't have any points of personal privilege, so we'll go right into the agenda. So, Mr. Majority Leader, I turn it over to you. You have the floor.
Good evening. Thank you. Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meetings of March 26, 2018, April 9 and 23 of 2018, May 14 and 29, June 11 and 25, July 9, 2018, the recess meeting of May 17, 2018, and the special meeting of June 28 and July 19, 2018. Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, apologies. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to put the following items on consent calendar. Item number 5, Love Your Block, acceptance of a $25,000 grant and the services of 2 AmeriCorps Vista volunteers from the cities of service organizations through its Love Your Block program, which will provide many grants for neighborhood projects through Southside Institutions Neighborhood Alliance, SINA. Item number 6, transfer of funds of $124,132 from the sundry account to the Registrars of Voters Office for conduct of the primary elections on August 14, which is tomorrow. Item number 15, confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Estela Morales Segarra to the Golf Course Oversight Commission. Item number 16, resolution encouraging the city administration to work with Active City to install small soccer courts in neighborhood parks. Item number 17, confirmation of the mayor's reappointment of Craig Mergens and Donna Schroer and appointments of Kathleen Kraskowski, Denise Best, and Chris Hayes to the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee. Item number 18, resolution requesting the Arroyo and Park Recreation Centers be open until 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays and 9 p.m. on Sunday. Normal closing hours are 9 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Centers are closed on Sunday. Item number 27, the ordinance creating a commission of 11 members serving 3-year terms for the purpose of advising the mayor and council on policy and support for criminal justice reform. Item number 29, confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Harry.
Patty Hart.
Is the confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Hyacinth Jenny and Damaris Bolorin. Item number 31, review of city swimming pools with goal of creating a plan to make them safer. Item 33, appointment of Molly Rosado to the Operations Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee, the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee, and the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee, and the appointment of Claudine Fox to the Health and Human Services Committee, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee, and the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee. And item number 35 is the extension of the term of the Council Solid Waste Task Force through December 31, 2018. Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Madam President?
Yes.
Madam President,
We have two friendly amendments to items number 18, and I believe all council members have been given the language. And an amendment to item number 31, and again, I believe all council members have been given the language and more semantical changes than anything substantive in either one. And I would note that item number 31 is also being discharged from the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee and the Health and Human Services Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Duly noted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded. Hearing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch. Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winch.
Yes.
Pass.
Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
I'd like to make a motion to receive items number 9, report from the Health and Human Services Committee on discussions of the resolution asking the council to conduct a review of city-operated swimming pools in order to increase safety. Item number 10, report by the Health and Human Services Committee on discussions held on the resolution confirming the mayor's appointment of Harry Hardy, Ruby Reese, Althea Cordner, Michael Scott, Hyacinth Jenny, and Damaris Bolorin to the Commission on Aging. Item number 11, report by the Health and Human Services Committee on discussion of resolutions confirming the mayor's appointment of Janice Fleming, Teresa Walker, and Diane Lewis to the Permanent Commission on the Status of Women. Item number 12, report by the Health and Human Services Committee on discussion on a variety of issues that took place at their meeting of August 6, 2018. And item number 13, report by the Public Works, Parks, and Environmental Committee on discussions held at its meetings of July 18, 2018 concerning a resolution accepting and installing the Heaven Skate Park sign and the resolution establishing a Friends and Family of Parker Memorial Center.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion on the items received? Hearing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winch.
Yes.
Pass.
Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
I'd like to make a motion to refer the following items, and I will announce the numbers and what it is, and then I will pass it on to my colleague, Minority Leader Bermudez, so that she can read the descriptions of each. Item number 1, to the Legislative Affairs Committee. Item number 2, to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. Item number 4, to the Operation Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee. Items number 7 and 8 to the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee. Item number 21 to the Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development. Item number 32 to the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee. The hearing date was Monday, August 20th, 2018. Item number 34 to the Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee. And item number 36 to the Health and Human Services Committee.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded. Minority Leader, you have the floor.
Item number 1, appointment of Tammy Leach to the Permanent Commission on the Status of Hartford Women. Item number 2, appointment of Gary Bozzano as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Item number 4, 5-year extension of an agreement with Riverfront Recapture, Inc. for maintenance and operation of the Riverfront Park. Item number 7, acceptance of 2 vehicles valued at approximately $22,317 from the National Insurance Crime Bureau for the use in undercover investigations and automobile thefts. Item number 8, acceptance of $5,000 per month through the Regional Intelligence Liaison Officer Program from the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection in reimbursement of salary expenses of the Hartford Police Detective assigned to this Connecticut Intelligence Center. Item number 21, ordinance submitted in June 2017 establishing a defined contribution retirement plan for non-union employees hired on or after July 1st, 2017. Item number 32, ordinance adopting the strategic plan of the Southwest Behind the Rocks Neighborhood Revitalization Zone.
Any discussion?
There's more.
Oh, sorry.
Item number 34, resolution establishing a moratorium on the use of drones until the council approves an ordinance regulating their use and the management and storage of the data they collect. Item number 36, resolution supporting the Ice Cream for Dreams efforts to secure a $10,000 grant to give out 10,000 ice creams to people who share their dream.
Any discussion on the referred items? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch. Councilman Deutsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winch.
Yes.
Pass.
Mr. Majority Leader?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone the following items until September 10, 2018. Item number 22, number 23, number 24, 25, 28, and 30.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion on the items that have been postponed? Hearing, Councilman Clark?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. For the record, I just would like to reflect item number 30. I think that council should take action on this, even though we are still within our 60-day policy on resolutions. The fact of the matter is, this is something that I know some people on the dais have some opposition about due to whatever took place over social media. However, the fact remains that we should do our due diligence in casting a vote, and so I will not be voting to postpone this item.
Any discussion? Councilwoman Winch.
Through the Corp Council, if I know that there's an action on the floor, which is a postpone, but that would have to be voted down before we could vote to take action and sever the names.
Corporation Counsel, did you understand that? Can you
through
repeat
you,
the question?
I'm
clarify that?
I'll repeat it. The recommendation right now is to postpone the item, but there are several individual names on the recommended Women's Commission. So is there an opportunity to make a vote to sever the names? Or does the postponement have to go down first and then the recommendation?
Through you, Madam President, right now the motion is to postpone all of those items read by the majority leader.
Right.
If you chose to do so, you could ask that that item be voted on separately to postpone. If it then failed, then whatever action you wanted to take could be taken.
Right, to even put the item on action also? Through you, Madam Chair. The postponement would need to fail first?
Yes.
Dr. George?
Maybe it's out of order to make a comment when it's a motion to postpone, but as a point of order, the purpose of the postponement is that 2 of the 3 individuals did come before the committee, and those we would like, or at least I would like to endorse and forward with a positive recommendation, and the 3rd just didn't come. And so we don't act until we have a chance to meet that person. On the other hand, it's a few days old, this nomination, so that person will most likely be put on the commission anyway, even though she didn't manage to come to the meeting. That's a point of information which may motivate this, and I would like to sever it also, but I don't know if the majority thinks it's necessary. I guess that's what I'm asking.
You have a question? Yeah.
Through you, Madam President, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. So in order to sever item number 13, then 30, then it would have to fail on this first round of votes.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there are two options. One is, right now, the motion is to postpone that item. You could accept the withdrawal of the motion with respect to that one item and then take it up separately.
Thank you.
But right now, there is a motion on the floor to postpone all of the items, including the one that is in question.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on the postponement of the items.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
No.
Councilman Deutsch.
No.
Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames. Councilwoman Lynch.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Thames.
Abstain.
Pass.
That's fine.
Hold on, let me see that. Hold on, hold on. Oh, probably fail. Fail, sorry.
It failed. Now.
Okay, now, motion.
Now,
is-
yes. Okay. So we're good?
That was the motion to postpone.
Right. So,
Okay.
On all five.
On all five of them.
right. So now I'm going to introduce, right.
Just 20.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to postpone the following items. Item number 22, 23, 24, 25, and 28.
Second.
Motion has been made and probably seconded. Any discussion on those items? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 I'd like to make a motion to sever that item 30, so then we can proceed.
It's not before us.
No, but I make a motion to sever.
It has to go on action
That-
first.
fine,
It has to go
whatever,
on action
okay.
first. Okay, Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to put item number 30 in action.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded.
This is silly. This is unnecessary. I shouldn't have. This is wasting time.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on moving item number 30 to the action item agenda.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark. I'm sorry.
I hear you.
Actions on action.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, for action?
Number 30.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
No.
Just to move it to action.
Yes.
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 Okay, so the item is now in action.
Okay, just through you, Madam President, just to speed things along, two distinguished individuals came to the meeting of Health and Human Services and discussed their contribution. That's Janice Fleming and Diane Lewis. They were there, and we felt they were merited appointment, and so there's a positive recommendation to act favorably on those versus severing it just because the other person didn't come and we like to meet nominees, that's all. So the motion is to accept for appointment to the commission those two individuals, Fleming and Lewis.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Sorry, there has to be a motion to sever the item, so let's do this again.
Motion is severed.
Second.
A motion has been properly made and seconded. Any discussion on the severed?
Yeah, a clarification. So are we severing the names and voting on each one individually, or are we voting on two names and not voting on one?
Voting on two names and not one. But we're just voting on severing the two names, exactly, the two names and the one
Okay.
that did not show up to committee.
All right, so that's two different things.
We're voting to sever, right now, the motion on the floor is to sever the three names, two that were favorably recommended out of the committee, and one that was not because they did not show up to the committee. So they still want to have time to meet with that person.
Which has no bearing on the motion. The motion is just to
I'm
sever
just
the name.
explaining to you where we are and what the motion is and what was repeated by the chair of the committee.
All right.
Council, Minority Leader Bermudez? Yes.
Through you, Council President. So this item is, right now before us, confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Janice Fleming and Diane Lewis to the Permanent Commission of the Status of Hartford Women.
The motion in front of us now is to sever the three names, and then we'll go into the action.
Right.
So this motion is just giving us the ability to sever and to vote on the items separately.
Call
Mr.
the
Clerk,
question.
please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox. Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch.
Yes.
Item is severed.
Councilman Deutsch?
A motion to accept the recommendation and nomination of those two individuals, Janice Fleming and Diane Lewis, on the Permanent Commission for the Status of Hartford Women.
Councilwoman Lynch?
Through you, Madam Chair, the Corp Council, we just passed a motion to sever the names. So don't we have to take them one at a time? Because that was a motion, right, to sever them?
Doesn't matter.
No, the motion was to sever the two and the one. So we're taking these two names together.
Oh, what?
Corporation Counsel?
Through you, Council President, so the motion was to sever so that you can take them up in whatever order and however many you want to take up. So Councilman Deutsch, after the motion to sever passed, made a motion to take up two of the three names. That's a proper motion. I believe, Council President, it has not yet been seconded.
I'd be willing to separate them one by one if Councilwoman Lynch wanted. Yeah. Friendly amendment. I think Councilwoman.
No, there's
Lynch-
no friendly,
No,
there's no friendly.
She just wants to segment one by one by one. It's okay.
Madam President, I make a motion to bifurcate the names on the resolution so that we can vote on them.
You don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We can just take them out.
It seems that there's some confusion, so.
Councilman Deutsch, I'm sorry. Through you, Councilman Deutsch's motion was never seconded, so there is no motion before the council after the motion to sever succeeded. So now it is open for a motion.
Councilwoman Winch.
I'm sorry, point of order.
Councilwoman Winch.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to favorably pass through Janice Fleming to the commission.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Minority Leader.
Through you, Council President. I know we're getting caught up in the technicality of Robert's rules right now, but I just want to talk about I want to discuss with those who are viewing and also with the council body. And this is about commissions, and specifically the Permanent Status Commission of Women. This commission had been dormant for a very long time. When we took office, we had many of us, including Councilwoman Arjo Winch and as well as Council President Thames, we have been trying to get this commission up and running since 2016. And it has been in the most recent months, in the last, I would say, 5 months or so, that this commission began to have more appointments, period. And as a council body and as people who are residents of the city and are concerned about the city, we see the need to have our commissions filled, especially those commissions that have been dormant and provide a vital resource to the community, especially for women to get involved and people in general to get involved in what's happening in their city. And this commission is one of those. All of the women whose names are on this list are activists. They have all given to the community. They have all served in different capacities. And if my memory serves me correct in terms of the process of trying to get more women to serve on this commission, it was first opened up to women who were outside of Hartford. Now it's more inclusive. Now we have women who are in Hartford and are longtime Hartford residents. And so the question here, from my standpoint, is not necessarily these individuals who have served the city and are longtime residents. The question is actually a bigger question in terms of how do we really activate Hartford residents, a new group of people, and allow these commissions to be filled on time.
Councilwoman Winch.
Madam President, that's not before us. What's before us is 3 individual names to be appointed to the Status of Women Commission.
One right now, one at the moment.
One right now, Janice Fleming, is the only one that is before us.
Mr. Clerk, Minority Leader.
Council President, I understand that that's not before us, but I had to say that because there is a trajectory here that we have to look back at, that we can't, if we don't mention it, then we wouldn't be doing a service to those residents of the city, because the point is that we need to fill our commissions and they need to be active.
Councilman Deutsch.
Okay, I'd just like to heartily endorse what was just said by Minority Leader. We must have these commissions because nobody knows everything, and many times the commissions, for instance, about housing. There's a woman spoke a few minutes ago about the Commission on Housing, which we don't have many members of, if any. We need to activate that. We need to activate the Commission on Hartford Women. And I agree completely that the point just made is that it's so important, so we can get advice and have some new ideas, some fresh ideas. So in spirit, this is just beginning, I hope, of filling all of our important commissions.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez.
Yes.
Councilman Clerk?
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox? Councilman Gale?
Pass.
Councilwoman Rosado?
Abstain.
Councilman Sanchez?
Pass.
Councilwoman Thames?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch?
Yes.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez?
Abstain.
Pass.
Okay, the next. Councilman Deutsch?
Very simply, the next distinguished woman who showed up is Diane Lewis. So I make a motion that she also be accepted to this permanent commission.
Second.
Motion has been made, probably seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez?
Yes.
Councilman Clerk?
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox? Councilman Gale?
Pass.
Councilwoman Rosado?
Abstain.
Councilman Sanchez?
Pass.
Councilwoman Thames?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch?
Abstain.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez?
Abstain.
Pass.
Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to withdraw items number 14, 19, 20, and 26.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Oh, no, I'm sorry, no roll call necessary. Move to
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for item number 3.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to move into executive session. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez?
Yes.
Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox? Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch?
Point of order, Madam President, that if we don't take action on the third name, that individual will automatically be appointed after 60 days.
Yes.
Yes, that is the standard rule across the board for board and commission appointments.
Is that the intention of the body?
But those items are in committee at this point. Those names, the remaining name is still in committee. But in the event that we do not vote on it within the 60-day, by the 60-day mark, they will automatically become
There's only one.
commission members. Excuse me?
There's only one.
It's in committee.
Oh, okay. I
It
don't
didn't get
understand
voted out of the committee because the person did not show up as I stated earlier, per the chair of the committee.
All right. Yes.
She said yes.
Yes. Okay. Pass.
Okay, we move to executive session.
Don't tell me we're going into that room. Where are we going? I can leave my bags here, right? Yeah. Or do you think I should take them?
6:30 is gonna be right away.
Okay.
You staying here?
Sugar.
Are you staying here, Sixto?
He's saying here, you all right? I need some sugar. Is that your intention?
Ms. Powell, how are you?
Like, I thought I could quit smoking cigs, but that failed, so we'll see.
Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor. To come out of executive session.
No, you got,
No,
let's
to
make
come
a,
out
make a
of-
motion to come out of executive session first.
Through you, Madam President, I make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez? Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fox? Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winch?
Council-
Councilwoman Winch?
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader.
Through you, Madam President, I want to like to make a motion to accept the proposed settlement for the amount of $100,000 of the legal matter of Kenville Edwards versus City of Hartford and Officer Christopher May.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bermudez? Councilman Clark?
Abstain.
Councilman Deutsch?
Yes.
Councilman Deutsch? I didn't hear you. Yes? Thank you. Councilwoman Fox? Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilman Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Thames?
Pass.
Councilwoman Winch?
Yeah.
Yes? Councilwoman Thames?
Yes.
Pass.
Meeting has been officially adjourned.